Hey, folks, welcome back to the Catholic Coaching Podcast. My name is Matt.
And I'm Erin.
My beautiful wife, Erin, and we are Catholic coaches for the day or the next 45 minutes or so. Today, we're going to be talking about how to not care what others think about you. Mm-hmm. It can be very helpful in some circumstances, but also living your life in somebody else's mind can ultimately take us down places where we're faking our way through life. We get obsessed with like the self-promotion and making sure that our brand is always forward and nicely manicured. Even in business it can manifest itself in ways of like just completely obsessed with the competition, which our friend Rick Newton always reminds us, like that means whenever he sees a business like that, they have some sort of identity crisis.
Yeah.
But whenever we enter into this, and there's some sort of like authority that we're giving over to somebody else.
Yeah, no, we can also people please, we can hide, we can fake, we can compare, so that these are other signs that it shows up in your life when you are making it mean too much of what other people think about you.
Yeah. Where it can be helpful, I think, is when it depends on the relationship, right? If you're working with somebody that really has your best interest in mind, maybe you give a little bit more weight to their opinion. Maybe it's your spouse or a spiritual director, somebody that has, like, based on their office, there's some sort of authority. There's a role, right? Where you've been entrusted to them, right? And presuming that they have a level of virtue themselves, or if it's somebody that you really admire.
I would definitely add to that. I would say admire, respect. If somebody does not have the life that you like want to live, that you're like, wow, really virtuous, I really love this life. I mean, why would you let their thoughts about you matter?
Yeah.
But I think really where it goes wrong, where it can go off the deep end, is when you make somebody else's thoughts about you, which you don't even know if they're real or not, but somebody else's way of thinking about you, when you make it about you and your identity, and ultimately, your future and your past, and you're like automatically believing that it's true.
Yeah, it can really box you in at that point. And so really what this podcast is all about is helping you break free. If you feel like you're one of those people that really maybe holds people's opinions of you to the point where it's detrimental, and you're focused outside and you want to manage their minds and their perceptions, and it can get very exhausting at that point. We're going to be walking you through a process of really liberation, I would say. And so part one here, we're going to talk about the top layer that people often miss.
Yes.
And I love this strategy. It's just like sometimes we have thoughts about the fact that we value people's opinions so much.
There's judgments. Yeah.
Judgments, that shame. We're going to remove that top layer of shame, give you some techniques for that. Next, we're going to move into to really the things that are going to help you feel more empowered to shape your own self-perception and kind of allow people to have their opinions and allow you to have your opinions and have some clear lines of what's yours and what's theirs, right? Next, we want to give you some simple mindset hacks. I love what you gave us here. Erin did all the notes for this one. Some simple mindset hacks that if you find yourself like feeling like you're heavy in somebody else's head, how you can get out of those things and really understand what are you seeking really, right? And focus on something that's going to be more serving. And then finally, some clear actions and even some prayer tactics that are going to be very helpful to breaking this habit of getting stuck in somebody else's mind, and some liberation from other people's thoughts about you.
Yeah. And those actions are part of like just exposing yourself to the scary thing, but also it's a test to see if your mindset has shifted at all. So yeah, let's get into it.
Ready to rock and roll. Okay. So the first step is to not care so much about what others people think about you, is again, like we said, to remove that top layer of shame that might be something you feel when you think about the fact that you do care.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly. So one of the ways that you can identify if you're like, oh yeah, I do feel like ashamed that I care what other people, I know I shouldn't care what other people think about me. I can't even tell you how many times I've heard people say that. Like, I know I shouldn't care this. It's like, okay, well, you do. And so the more and more you keep saying I shouldn't, we're just not even looking at that top layer of thought. And then we can't get into the other thoughts about it. So so let's just like claim it for what it is. You do care. And then like, what are your thoughts about the fact that you care about this? Right.
Yes. Yeah. So it could be something like, I shouldn't, why am I giving so much life of power over this person? And again, it can lead to that place of shame. Shame always leads to hiding. And when we're hiding, we can't do the work that's underneath the surface.
Yeah. Or really it's just like, you think it's bad. You automatically just think it's bad that you care about what other people think about you. We kind of already spoke about them. Like there are some people who you need to take into account and be inspired by, right? Like we are social beings created by a social God, like a trinity. So this is, like there's an assumption around the fact that you care what other people think about you as a bad thing. It's a terrible thing.
Yeah.
But like, I would first challenge it. I would just say, what if it isn't a completely terrible thing that you do care? Like what hidden gifts and talents and desires and values are kind of underlying this habit?
Maybe there's a gift of empathy that's there where you just naturally kind of like want to connect on an emotional level with people, and then, or even wonder about what's going on in their interior life. Maybe you have a high gift of intellection, right? And you're thinking, you're one of those people that's a natural ponderer, right? And naturally curious. Might be just revealing a gift there that maybe it just needs to be directed elsewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Or maybe you have a desire or you value connection, like you were saying, but also you want to be accepted and you want to be included. And these are not bad desires.
Yeah.
Like I said, God made us as social beings, and he ultimately is the one who can fully accept us to like the degree that our hearts desire it. But we can't do anything with that desire if we don't look at it, if we're just like, So really what this habit, like what we want you to do is walk away and ask yourself these questions, like what hidden gifts, desires, and values underlie this habit of mine of like really caring about what other people think about me.
Yeah. I remember back when I was an instructor at Quantico in the Marine Corps still, and the coveted role that I had in mind was to be an IOC instructor, infantry officer course. I remember when I went through that course, I had such esteem for my instructors, right? And so for me, I'd made such this goal of being an instructor there. It was just very big, and it was also very wrapped up though in my own kind of personal identity and self-image. Like if I got selected to be an instructor there, that would mean something about who I am and how I can start to think about myself. And it was just something that was really, it was keeping me from being present to the roles that I actually was in that were really forming me to be a better version of myself.
Yeah.
Right?
But there was also a hyper focus on others.
Yes, absolutely.
And what I like about this first step, like, okay, what does this say that's good about me? This habit, like that I do care. What does this say that it's good about me? What that does is that opens up your identity. You start to ask the right questions and ask that in prayer if you want. Lord, like what hidden desires and values are underlying this?
Yeah.
And because a lot of times we react out of desires that have not been filled, and we just go, well, I have to go get it myself or whatever. So he wants to open up that conversation with you. But what I like about this, even this first layer, you start to identify who you are. And then the identity question isn't so ambiguous anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. With this, I was so obsessed with managing other people's perceptions of me. And again, I think this even goes into our next hack here. So again, just another key step to just breaking any sort of attachment to, or obsession to what other people think about you and their opinions to you. It really gets into the minds of like, what can we control and what can't we control here?
Yes. Right. We are in charge of and responsible for our own brains, our own thoughts, our emotions, our receiving of our identity, like the actions that we take in receiving and opening up to our identity, who we go to for our identity, all that stuff. So we're in charge of that. And then other people are in charge of their own thoughts and their own emotions, whether they say them out loud or we just make them up in our brain and we attribute it to them, also their actions. So this is actually really, really powerful to know, because other people's thoughts are none of our business. And even if they do make it our business, we still don't even need to hold on to that. Like we don't need to pick it up.
Yeah, we don't need to pick it up. Like,
and it makes it means a heck of a lot more about, if they do think that, it means a heck of a lot more about them than us.
Yeah, I remember when you first told me this was years ago, like at least 5 years ago, where it's other people's thoughts or opinions are none of my business.
Yes.
And I love how too, it's just like, oftentimes we just go to like the criticisms that they might have and be like, oh yeah, none of my business. Right.
Yeah.
But even the praises that other people have, also none of your business. Equally. In the sense of like,
none of your business.
Yeah, like their words don't create our identity.
Yes.
Right. Our identity is something that is it's created. They're not the authors of it. Now they can affirm, right? And maybe they say something that we're just like, oh, I feel very affirmed. There's something that resonates as true in me. And I have a deeper sense of my identity is based on what they said, but it doesn't give the identity. Right. It's like, it can help to reveal it.
Tell me who I am. It's like, oh, yes, that seems very true. I see this a lot in the strengths world. When people find out what their strengths are and then they start reading into them, right? Or temperaments, you could do it with that too. But it's like, you feel so seen because you're like, this is part of who I am.
I'm not broken.
And now you have this language. But when you don't do that deep dive work, when you don't actually even take this stuff to prayer, you will go to other people and outside things or your job or whatever to tell you who you are, just because that is a human ache to know who you are and to be a sincere gift. And you can't be a sincere gift without knowing who you are. Yeah.
I love that you have here, and when this Pope Benedict quote here, where he says, Pope Benedict XVI, each of us is a result of a thought of God. Yeah. Each of us is willed. Each of us is loved. Each of us is necessary. Each of us is a thought of God. And even Dionysius talks about it as a divine perfection. Each person is an aspect of the infinite multitude of divine perfections. God has ordained some of those to be revealed here in the created order. And each person is that. And John Paul II, the way he would look over the audience of the millions of people that were with him and ponder the unique ways that God's grace was working in each of their lives, right? When we're in somebody else's head, we're not pondering the intimate mystery that each one of us is.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to go to a place of indulgence or navel gazing. There's a way of pondering this can be very affirming that can help you to become that sincere gift of self. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to rehash. So like when you know what you are responsible for and what other people are responsible for, and that other people's thoughts about you mean way more about them than about you, and that people cannot add to or take away your identity. It already exists. Sorry, it existed from the beginning of time. God already knew who you were going to be before he formed you in your mother's womb. He knew you. So he is the one who's spoken identity. It's permanent. And our role in life is to allow that to be revealed to us, is to like just lift up the veil. Lord, can you just show me a little bit more? But I think that is a really big piece. I think ultimately this entire conversation is about identity and like unmet needs.
Yeah. And I love how, Erin, you're saying there's ways of being able to direct our focus that start to reveal that identity that's already there objectively. It's already there, and take our focus off of the things that can be distractions to it.
Or we can't control. I mean, like, why would you even waste time anymore?
Right. So even with this step of being able to kind of break away from this excessive obsession, perhaps with other people's opinions of you, it has to do with the direction of your focus. Where do you want to direct? Focus is a commodity here, folks. It's limited, right? We don't have unlimited focus. We have finite human capacities.
It's the currency of your mind.
Absolutely.
It is like, it's the way your mind works. Where does your focus go? It expands things.
Yeah. And what you're focused on will grow, right? And so if you want your identity to be rooted in something that is sound and unchanging and absolute, then your identity, go to the Lord, right? And there's ways even at Metanoia Catholic in our academy where we're helping people through temperaments, through StrengthsFinder, to kind of adopt some of the language to really be good ponderers of this revelation, right? This lifelong revelation of their identity, but grounded in the Lord versus the really like building your house on the sand by grounding your identity in somebody else's opinion of you. And
I will say it's so much easier, like to just allow the Lord to speak over it. Yes, it takes time. It takes a little bit of energy. When I say energy, it's like, Lord, tell me who I am, like that. amount of energy, and then you sit and wait for it. But it always comes, like it does come. And when people listen to the Lord's identity of them, it's like, I don't know if you guys ever do this, but when you stare up into the sky, the night sky, and you're staring at one star and all the other stars fade away, it's one of those moments.
Oh, that's beautiful.
When
I love that.
the Lord speaks identity over you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's, no, I was just going to say, even back to that story with my obsession with being an instructor over at IOC, I had such an image of how my identity was going to be revealed to me, and how I had to be, and there were parts in order to fit in to this community that I thought was going to give me so much, and there was even a point where I started to really be upset with certain parts of me that I didn't think fit that model. I get to be very dismissive, and this is something that can of like very intimate parts of me. And this is something that can also be a consequence of being so obsessed with other people's thoughts and opinions of you. We start to actually dismiss these beautiful, unique, unrepeatable attributes of who we are that reveal that divine perfection we've been ordained from all of human history, all of eternity, to present to the world here.
Yeah.
So diving into kind of like this next thing, let's start going into the mindset. So again, another key step in not caring so much about what other people think is just knowing how to process through other people's opinions and frankly, their criticisms that they have.
Yes. Yeah. So maybe it's a criticism. Maybe it's made up in your head. It doesn't matter, right? It's there, it lives there rent free in your brain. So what do we do with those things? So the first thing you want to do is think of a recent time when you were overly focused on what others thought about you. Like I said, it could be made up, or they could have said it out loud. And you're like, I know for a fact that they think this because they told me. So you want to actually think of that recent moment. And then you want to notice the thoughts that are growing through your mind when you are worrying about that other person's opinion. Okay. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions. By all means, write these questions down if you're listening. You can pause it, write the questions down, and then answer them. Yep. But this is going to help you kind of work your way out of that prison of like making everything about all the other people and what they think. And fear, really, that's what's at the root of this. So question number 1, what if it were 100% true that their thoughts mean more about them and less about you? So really, this is just me teaching you the truth here, but in question form. But like, what if just for a minute, for 60 seconds, it meant nothing about you, what they think about you? Nothing. Like it meant way more about what was going on in their head.
What they ate for lunch.
Maybe what they ate for lunch, or what their childhood or their struggles or their wounds.
Dad said to them. Yes.
Right. Like it may be, just give me a second. Give me like a minute, a hot second. And then you can go back to being miserable and being addicted to what they say about you, the terrible things. But you could also think, what if this just means all the things about them? All right. I'm also not deflecting. I'm going to get to this. I'm not deflecting like maybe they had a point, right? I'll get to this later. But just for a minute, the things that people say, it's an action that comes from their own emotion, that comes from their own thoughts in their head and their own free will and their own stories. So what if that were true? Okay. That's my first question. Not a question. Just saying. Guys, in a question. All right. My second question, and this is a real question. What exactly are you afraid others will think or say? So now we're getting into the meat of it. Now it's a little bit more exposure. Like, let's look at that monster right in its face. Like, what is the worst thing that they could say about you? Right. So maybe Matt, in this situation, like, what is the worst thing that the IOC people could have thought or said about you?
You don't fit.
You don't fit.
Yeah, you don't fit in.
So you want to write that thought down. You don't fit in. And then you want to challenge it. So we're going to kind of flip it around, almost like it's a thought. It's a little object in the middle of the table, and you're only looking at it from one direction. But we're just going to flip around and ask a couple other questions so we can challenge it. The first question to challenge it is, challenge the truth of the assumption. Do you have any evidence to support your case that what they're thinking about you?
Yeah, that I don't fit. Yeah, in this case. Do you have any
factual evidence to support that?
Okay. I mean, the answer is no, but like.
Okay. So that's one way to challenge it, is just to bring truth in, right? Funny concept. Like, let's just bring truth in. Is there factual evidence to support this? It starts to kind of break it away a little bit. And technically you could say, well, I mean, gosh, if we're going to go down the facts trail, nobody really fits in. You know, it's like everybody brings different things to the table. Like, define fit. You know, like there's like a lot of ways that you can look at this.
Yep.
But then I love this one, because this actually, if you get defensive, if maybe you have that habit of getting defensive, I love this one because it totally takes all that defensiveness out of it. Own what is correct about it. So yeah, sometimes
I'm not a good fit.
Sometimes I don't fit in, especially if that's not where God wants me to be. I mean, I would imagine he wouldn't want me to fit there, right?
Yep.
So how are they right about you?
Yeah. Even in their criticism, how might they be right?
Yes. And you want to take ownership of that. Okay. Because immediately everybody goes, yeah, but you know, isn't that just like taking that path down? I'm like, I'm telling you, I don't know the science behind this, but the minute you go, you might be right. Now you're not angry or defensive anymore. And now where your mind goes is, what is a good fit for me in this case?
How can I grow?
How could I grow
in this situation?
Right. Or like,
growth mindset.
What could I do differently next time? Right. If it's something, or do I need to apologize to this person? So that's part of it. And once again, if this person said it out loud, if this person did not say it out loud and you are just making this up, you could just say,
like, the criticism is in your own brain.
Right. What's the worst case scenario? Like I said, well, what do I think they're thinking about me? How is that true? What could I work on now? Right.
Yep.
And then, so you want to ask, own what's correct, what is actually true about you. And then you want to reject what is not correct. Politely reject it.
Yeah.
Like, well, I know that this is not correct because I have all of this evidential, I have all these facts here. I know that's not correct. And I know my intention was actually to love this person. So I know that if they're attributing negative intention on me, like to me, I know that's not true. So like, what do you know to be true about you?
I think these two things are very key here, to own what you can, right? And just grow from it, right? Or reject and decline, be like, nah, I don't think so, for those things that don't really fit and you've discerned well.
Yeah.
I think this starts to reveal a little bit of what kind of attachment style that you have here as well, because I know that, for example, somebody that's an anxious attachment style that tends to trust other people more than they trust themselves, right? They might find it very easy to go into the self-criticism place and like, here's what I did wrong. But they're very reluctant to dismiss any of the critique, right? As something that's not necessarily them, versus an avoidant attachment style, which tends to believe that your opinion of yourself is better than other people's opinions of themselves. You may be inclined to just be dismissive of any sort of growth opportunity that could come from the criticism or the comment.
Yeah. So the goal here to become a secure attachment style is to ask both of these questions. Balanced.
Absolutely.
And to give them both equal airtime, because you're going to have one way to go. I would say most of my young adult life, I was the anxious attachment. And until I was learned, oh, okay, no, other people think their own thoughts and other people bring their own story into judgments and into claims or whatever. Then I could start being like, okay, I could see where you're coming from with this. And this is also true about me. Like this wasn't true, what you said. Totally fine. You can have your own opinion, but like, I will tell you from my own mouth, that is not true. That is not what my intention was.
Yeah. By the way, like, husband and wife here, we can say from experience, learning this stuff and doing this work has been a game changer in our own marriage, right?
Amen.
To be able to continue to move forward, because man, we can miss the mark sometimes.
Yes.
Forgiveness, moving forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
Growth. Yep. Beautiful. What next, Erin?
All right. So that was from the question, and we just covered the question, what exactly am I afraid that others will think or say? And then like how to approach that. The third question I want you guys to ask is, what do I imagine will happen if they disapprove? Like if they don't approve of me, or if they think this and this kind of continues to happen, and maybe they tell other people, like, what am I afraid will happen from that?
Yep.
And a way to challenge that is really just start asking questions like, am I 100% that this will happen? What else could happen? So you're kind of like challenging it. It doesn't have to be like the opposite is going to happen, but it's like, what else could happen actually?
Yeah, this starts to get into like weighing out those best case, worst case scenarios. Because sometimes and I like putting the percentage on this, and this is a little bit of a hack because you might say, well, this could happen. And it could be a terrible thing, but if it's only like a 10% likelihood, when you really stop to pause and think like, how likely is it going to happen? How much do they actually care to go and spread this, around or whatever it might be?
Yeah.
And suddenly it's just like, oh, it's like really unlikely that this person's going to do this, or they're going to think this, or this is going to happen, this thing that I dread. And it just, again, it deflates a lot of the drama around
it does.
Around your thoughts.
And I love that example of like, am I afraid they're going to go tell everybody else their opinions? And then now everybody's going to hate me or whatever, judge me. And that just made me think of a question I usually ask my clients when we're dealing with this is like, first of all, do you want to be friends with any of these people? Like, you get to say too, like all the people who are just talking crap and like just, gossiping and are believing lies without having any critical thought. Like, do you really want to be surrounded by these people?
Hang out with them? Yeah.
I mean, it goes back to like, do you really care about the people like who you don't admire? Like, their opinions of you, Yep. I think that's just a good question. Okay. Another way that you could challenge this, from this one question, what do you imagine will happen if they disapprove of you? I love this. And it's creating like a future protocol. So like, all right, let's say it does happen. Let's say
they spread the rumor. Nobody likes you, and it doesn't matter because you're not going to be friends with them anyway, but, or you could care less. But if it does happen, how will you choose to think and feel about this? Okay. So this is like, all right, we've entered into the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, let's do this so that we can feel empowered by coming up with just choosing ahead of time how we're going to respond.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How we're going to still like, okay, so all the rumors are going all over the place.
This takes the fear out of it, like big time. Because you go, okay, like, you look it right in its face, like that ugly monster, worst case scenario. And you go, all right, let's just go down this path anyway. Cause you guys are already thinking about it anyway. So like, just give it like some focus airtime. And like, let's just say this does play out. And like, what am I going to do in this scenario? Like, what am I going to do? And what am I going to think? Am I going to beat myself up? Or am I going to be like, wow, there's a lot of people who just have maybe some messy minds. I don't know. Like, I don't really want to hang out with them though. Like maybe you're going to go find some new friends, or you're going to be like, like I don't make it my business to be friends with people who like make snap judgments of people right away. And like, I don't even want to be that person to make snap judgments. I'm sure that they're making this judgment from a place of woundedness. Like, so like you can kind of talk yourself through it, and you can even ask the Lord, like, how do you want me to feel about this in this moment? Like, you prayed for your enemies and you told us to, right? I'm not even saying these people are enemies. Isn't it funny? Like, all of this could be made up in our heads, and we could be like just spending all this time and energy.
Well, it goes back to like we had the episode that we did all about like people. We're 95% of the thoughts that people think are negative, and like 90% of them never actually happen.
No, they're repetitive, and then 80% of those thoughts are negative.
It was negative, but like 95% of those negative thoughts, like they never actually manifest. They never actually happen. Like these worst case scenarios in our brains, that's the only place that they ever exist.
Yeah. Yeah. And in those moments when you go, how do I want to choose to react to this? This is one of those another place where you could do a deep dive into your identity.
Yeah.
Like, Lord, what do I want? I don't even know. Like, I've automatically just said I want a lot of friends. And I'm like, but I've never actually been like, what type of friends do I want? Like, what do I want to be able to talk to them about? And what do I not want them to be like doing all the time? And, you know, like,
Yeah.
So you can take it a little bit deeper.
I like this next one. It's like, what do you think you need from this person? And what I like about it is it starts to get into really the core needs, the core desires that may be behind some of the actions that we're doing. And going back to me, it was just like, I want to fit in, right? I want to fit. And I had this image in my mind of what fitting in, belonging. Yes. What it looked like. And it looked like getting appointed to this particular office. Well, I got appointed to another office. So I didn't necessarily fit here, and that's okay, but I fit over here. Yeah. And that was like, in hindsight, that was an incredible growth opportunity for me, and I loved it. And just, I think one of the things from even back in that scenario, one of the things that was most liberating was when I got the word that I wasn't going over to IOC.
Because you're like, I don't have to keep pretending.
Right. Well, I don't have to keep obsessing over it. It's like, it's not even an option anymore. It's like, mourn it for a little bit, but at the same time, it's like, okay, I'm not going to sulk over it. And I remember like, even this was like so affirming is when I let go of the obsession, when I let go of like what other people's opinions of whether or not I belonged over there really meant. And I just let go of that. I stopped because it was often causing me to be very weird and disingenuous when I was around them. Like awkward. I remember a friend of mine that did get appointed over there, just unsolicited, saying, Matt, you would have been great over at IOC. And it was one of those things where when I received that compliment, it was like, man, that feels really good. Moving on. Like that was it. Yeah. There had been a bit of a release from that and a liberation, I guess you could say. Yeah. But yeah. Back to what you got here.
What do I feel like I need from them?
What do I feel like I need?
Because a lot of these needs are actually really desires. They're not like needs like necessary for your survival.
I see.
Right? It's more of like a very deep desire of the heart. It doesn't mean that it's different, but I do think making that distinction is very powerful, because when you go, I need this from other people, now the stakes are higher. Now it's like, and if I don't get this, but when it's a deep desire, there's freedom. There's a little bit more freedom around it. You can be like, I really, truly desire this. And it can open up for communication and prayer with the Lord. But, I think it's like, so I think actually that's the first thing I would do. What do I think I need from this person? I would shift that language to, what do I deeply desire from this person? And you could take it down the path. Why this person, what makes them different? It could just be because you admire them, whatever. I don't know. But, like what makes them different from somebody else who I don't feel this around, and you can take that to prayer.
And then it's just even like, is this person even capable of filling this need?
Right. Or like, how will I know when this need is filled? And like, if you don't really have an answer to that, I think it's kind of uncharitable that you would put that need on somebody else.
Right. Well, and this is the case in marriages often where people put it on their spouse, right? And there's this expectation the spouse is going to be God to this other person.
Yes.
An image of God, right? But also like a helpmate to help that person to really help you to become more Christ-like yourself, right? And give you opportunities in a unique spousal way to be Christ-like to the other person and really transformed in that.
But I think that's a big thing, because I think when needs go unchecked and you're like, I just need this from you, I don't know when I'll be filled up. I don't even know if that's even possible or when that's enough. You can unintentionally make this other person an idol.
Okay.
You know?
So what do we do in that case? Say we've gone through this work and we've said, okay, I think I need this from this person. This person's the only person that can give it to me, which we can challenge that thought. And
that's the first thing
and we've kind of moved into making an idol out of that person. What do we do from there, Erin, to kind of break that idol?
Well, the first thing I would do is just, that person cannot fill that need.
Yeah.
Period. Like, can't, because have they yet? Like, is it even possible? Right? So that I would do that. First, I would challenge that, and I would actually say, no, this person doesn't feel this need. I remember finding such freedom back when I was dating, and realizing, just coming to this realization on my own. I remember exactly where I was sitting. It was like in my friend's car. And I just said, oh my gosh, it is not a man's responsibility to fix my emotions or to fill my emotions or fill my heart. Like it just isn't. And it wasn't like coming from like an angry place. It wasn't, it was just like, and I'm like, that's like really unloving to put that on somebody, because like that is God's place. Like he's the one who made our hearts. That infinite like love and desire that we have in our hearts is made for infinity, not finite things.
Yeah. An infinite giver.
Yes. And so it was freedom for me, and really kind of coming to realize that I repented. So that's what I would do. I would challenge, can this person even really feel it? No, they can't. I'm sorry. They can't. It's an infinite ache for an infinite God.
Yeah. And then just repenting of that.
Repent
like
of it.
when the idol shows up in our lives, and folks, we often think that like in order to fall into idolization, that we need to be like worshiping a golden calf. It's not the case. It's whenever we put something, a finite thing, a material thing in the place
above God. Yes.
Right. It's an idol, and we're inclined to do it. It's part of fallen humanity, but we don't have to stay there. And repentance is not a way of shaming. Oh, you shouldn't do that. It's a way of
restoring the relationship.
and yes, restoring things to the proper order here. So repenting of idolizing that person, repenting of putting too much on that other person. And sometimes there's been times where Erin's even like come back to me and she's like, Matt, I was putting too much on you and I'm sorry. And that is even opened us up to a deeper relationship ourselves.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And repenting for like being like, we're not saying that people cannot be vessels of love for others.
Absolutely. Yep.
But the problem lies is when you become addicted to the vessel and not the actual source of the love, or the reflection of the love and not the actual like source of the love, which is God. So just check that. Like, do I care more about what this person thinks than I do God, what God thinks about me? And that's pretty easy. Most people can answer that question. Like, if this person were to say a terrible thing to you, would it destroy you? Versus like, right. So it's kind of, and that doesn't mean you don't ever feel sad or hurt. And I don't want you guys to think that that's not allowed here, because we are, like I said, social beings, and we do feel hurt sometimes.
And people can make impressions on us, and it happens. We always have the choice of how we want to move forward from there here too.
But you don't make your identity equivalent to your emotions.
Yeah.
And I just want to say that, because you can feel hurt. That's an emotion. It's kind of fluid and it can move around, but your identity stays.
Yeah. And I love just kind of wrapping up this section here and just talking about, okay, so we've repented, we've forgiven people for like not being able to really even meet our needs. Now we understand what it is that we're longing for, the deep desires that we have. We can take those to the Lord, and that can be very healing. And again, once we restore that foundational relationship with the Lord, we can still receive it from other people when the Lord does ordain to satisfy a need or desire through somebody else. But it doesn't create some sort of idolization or addictive bond where you have to get it from that person. It's more puts you in this posture of being able to receive it from a place of gratitude, where you're no longer obsessed with the opinions of other people and what they think about you.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. And the way to do this is to humbly ask him, Lord, I'm noticing I want to belong, or I'm noticing I want to be appreciated by somebody else. Lord, can you show me your appreciation or your belonging, or like show me, Lord, can you fill this need, fill this desire for me? And then allow him to do it however he wants. The problem happens when we go, and I want you to do it exactly like this. Boom, 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 boom. And then when you don't do it, I'm going to be super disappointed. It's more like that is a release. It's a surrender. It's like, to whom else shall we go? Right at this moment, like, I've tried everything else. I'm so sorry. And here's this desire. And then allow him to surprise you throughout the day. You can say like, could you show me this today? Or can you fill me today? And then I also love saying like, could you let me know when you're doing it so I can be grateful? I can thank you for it.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
That's what the prayer looks like. And
Okay.
finally, let's wrap up.
Yeah. So as we wrap up here, what are some experiments that we can try to stop caring so much about what other people think?
Yeah.
And I love what you got here, Erin, because these are actions that you can do. And these actions themselves don't necessarily break the attachments or the thought patterns to like make it so you don't care so much about what other people are thinking. But they do start to create some experiences that might trigger some of that deeper stuff that's there that needs to be dealt with. That's going to be part of your liberation from caring so much about what other people think.
Yeah. Or they could create experiences of freedom. So, so part of this is doing the thing and then going, oh, that wasn't so bad. Like reflecting on it.
So as we're going through this, like these are some experiences that when you do these things, when you try these things out, we invite you to just be a student of what's going on inside of you. Do you feel that sense of fear that we were talking about before? Do you feel this sense of attachment where you need to get this person, almost like you want to, even like a sense, this might sound extreme, of consuming the other person.
But
like,
it's extreme.
Well, not literally consume, but like you have to get something out of them. And this has been something where I felt this way before, where it's just like, I can just be, I don't know, like I feel like I need to get it. The only way to get my needs satisfied is through this person and having this person think a certain way about me. And then suddenly it just becomes all consuming with my thoughts. Yeah. Right. So, what are some of these behavior experiments, Erin, that people can try that might start to bring up some of the deeper work that needs to happen? So
if you find yourself like excessively people pleasing, which is another way it shows up, say no to something that you usually say yes to. Like just be like, okay, I know so-and-so is going to ask me for this. I know my kid's going to ask me for this. And I always say yes to them. Just say no. Like say no, try it that way. Try it small bites too. It doesn't have to be like a big no. It's like small. I can see how temperament starts to even play in here as well, sure. Right? We got a lot of episodes in the Catholic Coaching Podcast that have to do with temperaments, right? And temperaments are just that natural disposition that reveal the way that you react to certain things. So even in these experiments based on your temperament, you might find yourself reacting in different ways than like say your spouse or somebody else. Just notice that and check out some of those episodes. So again, it could just be revealing the ways that God has wired you to react certain ways. And we're building up evidence of the opposite. Yeah. That's what we're doing with these experiments. The second one is share your opinion in a group without overchecking reactions, without saying you're sorry or whatever. Like, here's what I think. Like when you wouldn't. I just had another thought. This is exactly how I started to grow. Like exactly. Okay. It was just like where somebody, like I normally would just go with the flow or I would say yes to everybody. I would start to say no. That was one thing. And then I would start to be like, I'm just going to share my opinion on this. And it doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean it counters anybody else's. It's just like mine, just starting to take ownership.
Did you ever get crickets when you did that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, there was like there was this like, but there was great responses too. And the beautiful thing was I actually had it was a more honest relationship. I'm
just thinking right now of like, at no point in your rambling did you come close to anything that could even be conceived as a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber having thought of it and having heard it. I award you no points and may God have mercy on your soul. Next, Erin, what's our next experiment?
The next one is go a day without seeking reassurance. Go one day. And I don't know what that looks like for everybody, but if you're like, hey, did I do a good job? That's so obvious, but like it could be other ways. So figure out how you seek reassurance from people. And then be like, I'm doing one day where I'm not doing that. And I'm just going to check it and make it into a game every single time and then make it into a prayer every single time. And be like, Lord, give me assurance, or Lord, give me your approval, or whatever that need or desire is.
Yeah. And again, these are experiments that start to bring this stuff up, and it's hard to do this kind of work yourself. We really recommend that you actually work with a coach or counselor or somebody that's a trusted guide that's really able to hold the space for you and help you to kind of understand and work through and process through some of these things that are being revealed when we start to like intentionally trigger, right, these people pleasing tendencies of ourselves, or these whatever gets the thought ruminations going, that living in somebody else's head and being obsessed with what they think about us.
Yeah.
So, but just even debriefing, it seems like, what happened?
Yeah. When you try to,
yeah, like, let's build some evidence. Did your worst case scenario show up, or in reality was it something just much more, like tame, not scary at all?
Yeah.
And just even, how did it feel? Right? Did the fear show up as well? Again, great stuff to be able to process through with a coach. Finally, wrapping up here too, I think are just some great prayer meditations. The first one, we've got Proverbs 29 through verse 25. The fear of man lays a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is safe.
Yeah, I think that's what I love about that one is most of us do the fear of the Lord, which is basically what this whole podcast is about, like fear of what other people think about you. Fear of man. Fear of man is fear of what other people think about you. Yes. Right. Most of us do that from a place of fear, obviously. And really what we're seeking is just safety and security, and security in our identity. Right. And that's what I love about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Next we have Galatians 1 verse 10. Am I now trying to win the approval of human beings or of God?
Boom. Just stop there. Stop. Full stop. Ask yourself that question.
That's a good one. And finally, this is something even Aaron, you and I this morning when we were praying today, it's Friday. It's actually the Feast of the Sacred Heart, hence my awesome shirt that I'm wearing right now. Catholic Forge, go check it out. The crowning of thorns, there's something about that mystery of the rosary, the crowning of thorns, where what are they doing to Christ? They're putting the cloak on him. They're putting the crown on his head. They're putting the reed in his hands. They're putting on him this image of earthly royalty, very much distorted, crudely, even from an earthly, crudely done. But even if it was a golden crown or a golden staff, or like he was ordained in the most beautiful robes, it would still be a degradation to the reality of who Christ was with his kingdom. And so when we fall to, this is even something I walked away from my reflection this morning, when we fall to really just embracing the opinions of the world, and we're so obsessed with what other people think and what the world thinks about us, where we end up settling is always in a degraded, crude version of who we really are. Yeah. A crude self-perception.
Yeah. If you appreciate like imaginative prayer, you could go to that place in the Passion. And when you're feeling judged by others or whatever, mocked by others, or that fear of man, you could go and just be with Christ in that moment. Like, Lord, what are you thinking right now? Like, what is going on? Like, what is the glory that you are beholding in your mind that like, this is worth all of this? And just be alongside of him, be there. I love how St. Therese would always say, like, she would be there, like consoling the heart of Jesus, like be with him in that moment. That's something else that you could do.
Beautiful. Well, folks, that's all we got for you today. So if you like this, please like and subscribe. Share it with a friend here too. If you didn't like it, we don't really care. That's your opinion. So, yeah. Thanks so much. Like, subscribe. We'll see you guys next week.
Or don't like. I'm just kidding. Okay. Bye, guys.
All right. Blessings. Hey, thanks for sticking with us in the Catholic Coaching Podcast. If you like what you heard,
please like and subscribe, and we'll see you again.